Moving aside from screen time, there are also problems that teens have been facing on a daily basis that has become much more accentuated due to quarantine. And that's why I wanted to ask you, what tips would you provide to teens to manage stress, anxiety, and to cope with depression that they usually feel, but now it's become a lot more worse?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Well, I have to say that teenage years are not easy, and I'm sure you can vouch for that, right? You know, teenagers are already going through so many drastic changes, right? They're going through physical changes, they're going through forming their identity, they're trying to build a self-esteem, they're maybe exploring new relationships. I mean, and we're not even talking yet about academic pressures, right?
Yeah.
School and then college and all of this pressure. So teenage years are, my gosh, I have to give props to people who make it that far. So good job for just being in your teenage years. And then, so all of these aspects of life for a teenager can already be so stressful. And it can also make one more prone to anxiety, depression, and just chronic stress, right? So I think the first thing to understand is that it's very normal to experience some range of emotions. Like, we all experience stress, we all get worried, we all feel some level of anxiety, sadness, frustration, especially when you have a host of challenges. So it's always helpful to build some practices in your daily life to just increase that resiliency to cope with setbacks, because they will happen as part of life. And I can't emphasize enough the importance of, for example, say, structure and routine. So I know right now everything's kind of gone up for a toss with this COVID, right? Especially during summer when even school's out. So it's really important for teens to figure out some level of structure or routine, because having that, a day that's kind of like open-ended, it can create a lot of uncertainty and can also lead to some unhealthy habits, and that can again become a pattern, right? So being able to even say, okay, today is my relaxation day or leisure day, even just being able to set that intention aside is, good enough, like having that sort of structure in place, right? And, within that structure, again, I go back to just the basics. It sounds like such common sense, but I'm sure you know how difficult it is to just be able to put sleep, diet, and nutrition and exercise in our schedule. Again, it doesn't have to be a big goal, but and then social support is so important for teens, right? I mean, that's where, more than parents, you need the support of your friends, right? That's who you're listening to. So again, I think we kind of touched on this earlier. Even though right now we're having to maintain our 6 feet distance, it doesn't take away the fact that you can connect still with your friends, whether it's through Zoom or through, FaceTime, or I know Snapchat's a big thing, Instagram, things like that. So I think teenagers need to be heard, right? So I think surrounding yourselves with friends or even family members, at least one person that you think, okay, I can go to this person if I just want to vent or talk about something challenging. And so, I know the context looks different, right? Because maybe during lunch or between classes, you would bump into your friend and just say, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened in the class, right? So that part may not be there now. The context looks different. So you have to be a little creative about using those outlets now, right? So maybe, again, you set up a time to chat with your friend and say, hey, do you have some time to really talk? I need a space, so it requires a little bit of vulnerability maybe on the teen's part, but it is so important to get that sort of social outlet. And then, I think this is going to sound maybe a little bit fluffy, but it's important to know that gratitude plays such a big role in our mental health. Being able to stay grateful about what is going well, because it's so easy, right, for us to just say what's not going well. It's easy for us to, again, kind of just look at the stuff that's critical about us, or there is a lot that's not going well. It's true. And so, it's hard to not think about that. But again, setting the intention to say, what is going well in my life right now? Okay, I have a roof over my head. Maybe that's a blessing, right? And then, of course, mindfulness is a big one. Identifying one thing, even if it's just one thing that brings you joy. It's like, again, mindfulness is just completely about being immersed in something. So I know some teens might like music, so playing an instrument, sports, making YouTube videos, creating websites, whatever
Yeah.
it is. So immersing yourself in things that bring you that joy. So these are just some tools that I think can help teens manage their stress and anxiety at this time.
Those are some great tips. Thanks for sharing.